Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Warhammer 40k roadmap. Oh wait, there isn't one. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Alright, so it has been almost a year now since Games Workshop released the Codex roadmap for Warhammer 40k. We have been through the Space Marines, the Tyranids, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Necrons, the Dark Angels, the Orcs, Adeptus Custodes, Tau, Chaos Space Marines, Genestealer Cults, and now Adeptus Sororitas. And there's only one more left on the summer 2024 roadmap. And of course, it is the Redacted one. So there has been quite a bit of speculation as to what it's going to be. Some people said Emperor's Children. Others have said like Agents of the Imperium / like Death Watch getting rolled up together. But the truth is, nobody really knows. There were some leaked pages that showed what looked like some Agents of the Imperium / like Death Watch looking content. But it was basically just a story. Could have been from everything. It looked like it was basically snapped at the printers. But there's been absolutely no follow-up, no more rumblings in the community. So I figured today we'd take a look at all of the codexes that already came out, all of the codexes left to come out, and then we could talk a little bit about potentially like speculate on what's actually coming. As I do expect very soon, Games Workshop is going to release not only the Redacted Codex, or at least tell us what it is, but then also a brand new roadmap. So let's jump over to the Games Workshop website and take a look. Alright, so here we are on Warhammer.com, the Warhammer community website, and I went ahead and X'd off all the ones that already got a codex. In this case, I also X'd off like the actual index card FAQ because obviously we're not going to get a codex for index cards. So we have Mechanicus, we have Tyranids, we have Tau, we have Space Marines, Orcs, Genestealer Cults, Necrons, Dark Angels, Chaos Space Marines, Adeptus Custodes, and then Sororitas. So we have the first 11 codexes released, and so far I think Games Workshop has been doing a pretty good job. So let's take a look at what's left. So we still have World Eaters, Thousand Suns, Space Wolves, Leagues of Votann, Imperial Knights, Grey Knights, Drukhari, Death Watch, and then we have Death Guard, Chaos Knights, Chaos Demons, Blood Angels, Black Templars, Astra Militarum, Agents of the Imperium, Eldari, and then all by its lonesome at the bottom, the Emperor's Children. So a lot of people speculated that the Redacted Codex is going to be Emperor's Children. I'm not so sure about this. So realistically, it makes sense for Games Workshop to release an Emperor's Children Codex this edition. But I think the only reason we actually got an index is because the new Chaos Codex was coming out. It didn't make sense. Had they not released the Emperor's Children index, it would have looked like they were basically discontinuing Slaanesh, or at least caused like some unwarranted speculation, as they would have been removing Lucius the Eternal from the actual book. So I think this was just planning on Games Workshop's part, knowing that eventually they're going to release an Emperor's Children Codex. All they had to do was basically create 2 data sheets for the index, put them out separately, and then they didn't have to print all that stuff in the actual Chaos Codex. So I really don't think that they're coming, at least not anytime soon. Now, I think they probably come at the very end of 10th edition. So realistically, like somewhere around like a year and a half to 2 years from now. So before we actually speculate, I figure one of the easiest things to do is tally up exactly how many Imperium, how many Chaos, and how many Xenos books we've had, and then that'll give us an idea as to which way they've been leaning, and then assuming there's some kind of like balance, maybe that'll give us a clue as to what's to come. So we have Tyranids, Tau, Orcs, Genestealer Cult, and Necrons. That's 5 Xenos factions. We have Mechanicus, Space Marines, Dark Angels, Chaos, Custodes, and Sororitas. So we have 5 Xenos, 1 Chaos, 2 Space Marine, and 3 Imperium. So quite a bit of Xenos has already hit the shelves, but we're definitely lacking on the Chaos side. We have the most Imperial factions and a bunch more Space Marines to come. So I think realistically, we could probably lean in to say that we're going to get a lot of Chaos Codexes, and then also probably quite a few Marine Codexes. Now there's been some speculation that Blood Angels are coming next, at least for like a big range refresh and book release. And I think that's probably pretty legitimate. Blood Angels are super popular. They're probably the best faction currently in the meta. And there's a ton of potential for upgrades on like range kits. Things like Death Company, Sanguinary Guard, a bunch of the characters have not been updated for decades. And then realistically, as far as Xenos, it's basically just Drukhari, Eldari, and then like the potential mixes between the two, and then Leagues of Votann. So I have a feeling that the Xenos are going to kind of get the shaft on this next one, since they've already gotten so many releases. I think Chaos and Space Marines are going to really get a lot of love. So realistically, World Eaters, Thousand Suns, and Death Guard have probably a way better chance of coming out in the near future than Emperor's Children do. I think there's a good reason to suspect that Blood Angels are on the horizon, and I don't see any reason why the Agents of the Imperium or the Death Watch would necessarily be redacted if that was the next book coming out. So if anything, I think that gives a little bit of credence to the idea that the Emperor's Children might be the redacted book. Because I could totally see Games Workshop leaning in on chaos and going with Emperor's Children, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, and World Eaters, and basically just making it rain chaos in the like fall / like winter. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now back to the video. Now there is a little bit of separation within the actual Space Marine books, as we have like the regular Codex Adeptus Astartes, and then things like Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch. All those are basically just Codex supplements, as where Grey Knights in the past has gotten like its own book. We could see it released as a Codex supplement, but I don't necessarily think that that's what's going to happen. We know the hardest codexes for Games Workshop to consistently balance have been Imperial and Chaos Knights. There's rumors that the Chaos Demons Codex was going to get rolled into like the individual faction codexes for the respective Chaos Gods, but I don't think Games Workshop's going to get rid of the opportunity to sell another book. So realistically, looking at what's already come out, looking at what potentially still has to come out, I think we're going to probably see a lot of power armored books coming out in the near future. If we get 3 out of the 4 Chaos God codexes, obviously pushing the Emperor's Children back towards the end of the edition, and then we get a bunch of Space Marine Codex supplements as well for like Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Death Watch, etc. The only real outliers are Agents of the Imperium, Astra Militarum, and then the 3 Xenos books. So let me know what you think is going to be coming. I have a feeling that we're going to see a bunch of Chaos and then a bunch of like Space Marine supplements. Probably see a little sprinkle of Xenos in there, but with only 3 factions really left to come out and an only partially done range refresh on the Eldari, I think they got a pretty high probability of coming out, and when they do, getting a lot of love. They've always been really popular. They're definitely a good faction, and some of the kits are like ridiculously old. We're still missing a couple of Phoenix Lords, and I think there's a massive opportunity for them to sell Aspect Warriors if they make stuff like plastic Swooping Hawks or Warp Spiders. Games Workshop's also been removing a lot of their resin models, replacing them with plastic every opportunity they get. So I think there's a very high probability that we see potentially like Swooping Hawks in the next Kill Team box set, along with a bunch of the other like rumored flyers, and then the Codex not far behind, potentially with stuff like Warp Spiders and the other Phoenix Lords. I think we probably see the Chaos and regular Knights come out around the same time, as it's going to be a lot easier for Games Workshops to balance those if they do them both at the same time. They're also going to be like smaller books because there's not a ton of units in them. So it's something they can put together in a lot less time. But without an actual roadmap and only the redacted book left for the existing roadmap, your guess is as good as mine. So let me know what you think is coming out. Let me know also why you think Games Workshop is waiting so long to release the new roadmap, when you think it's going to come out, and what you think is going to be on it. Obviously, the order is something that's just completely guessing on, unless somebody has some kind of inside information. But for me, I fully expect lots and lots of power armor on the horizon. So leave it down in the comments what you think is coming, what you want to come, and why. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man. And go ahead, Games Workshop, release the new roadmap. And let that redacted book be Death Watch. I frickin' dare you. And I'm out of here.